Hi, this is Matt with iGo Figure Software, and we're going to be covering today more or less a quick start guide to a day in the life of an employee at a facility using the iGo 360 web-based software. So without further ado, let's jump right in. We're going to cover today how to log in, how to start the welcome screen, how to clock in, how to enter a prospect and member, how to scan in a member, how to get a payment for a delinquent member, and how to schedule appointments. We'll also cover in a little bit more detail at the end some detail aspects of those records as you go through them, but for now we're just going to cover the very basics to help you get started. So first, when you're set up as an employee, you receive an email with the login address. Just click to go to that address, click log in with the temporary password that you receive, accept the EULA, and then you'll come back here to log in again with your new password. You're given the option to launch the club tier or the welcome screen. You're going to want to launch the club tier. This takes you to the dashboard from which you're going to drive and do everything within the club as an employee at that facility. The first thing that you're going to want to do when you log in is clock in, so you can get credit for your time. Sometimes club owners won't use this feature. If they do, simply just come over to time clock, click time clock, click the employee that you are logging in, should be the person who's logged in, or if somebody else comes in that's working there at the same time you are and hasn't logged in, you can log them in here, and you just simply click clock in, clock out. Note that I'm logged in successful and you're done. You're logged in as an employee. Second thing to note I'd like to point out is if you get stuck on anything, there's a built-in help system here. Simply click this question mark. What it does is it brings up this website with a list of training courses on various things. So if you're stuck and looking for a hand on how to get through something, you can usually find your answer by reviewing the corresponding course here. Next thing you're going to want to do is make sure the welcome screen is up and running. That's the screen that faces the members when they scan in with their barcode tag. To check that, either it's on or it's off. If it's on, you don't need to do anything. That screen will stay up and on unless the computer's shut off or somebody X's out of that screen. If it's not up, to launch it, you just simply click this blue screen looking button here and click the option that says launch the welcome screen with member info. Click continue and it will pull up the welcome screen. Now to get it out of the way over onto the monitor, you just grab it at the top and slide it over to the other monitor, maximize the screen. You can also hit, I think in Chrome, F11, and that'll take off the browser line at the top. So it just makes it look a little cleaner to turn that on and off if you like. So there you go, you've launched the welcome screen. Now, how do you want to enter a prospect? Let's say somebody comes up, you try to sell them on a membership, they don't want to join, but they say, please keep in touch with me. To enter a prospect, you simply come over to prospects. Now you can click prospects, that'll pull up a list of all your prospects, and then to enter a new one, you simply click sign up. Type in the information that you want to, we'll just go ahead and put in a test one here. We'll put in some test information. And a street address, and then we'll just the source, and then we click save. Now, if the owner of your facility has the automatic email turned on for new prospects, when you enter a new prospect, they receive an email, thanking them for stopping by and looking forward to them joining. But once you grab that basic information, you're good to go. There's some other information you can enter in here if you want. Some clubs use this to track more data about the prospect so that can help close them later. Most clubs don't. It just really is a matter of capturing that initial data, but you can if you want. But that's really all you need to do to get going. Don't really need to worry about anything else, and your prospect is in there. Garrett Edward. And if the email's turned on, that person just received an email greeting from the club if you had captured their email address. All right, next thing we got are member records. If you need to look up a member record, lots of ways to do that. Tom has just scanned in over here. If you want to see his member record, you just click it, and that brings up Tom's member record, and you're functioning with it within that. So let's go ahead and cover a little bit about what's in here so you can see how the software is set up. You've got a general tab with the type of agreement that they've signed up for right here. There can be several that will appear here if they buy different set packs of personal training or classes or things like that, but usually just one. Also, if there are notes entered for this member, they'll appear below that, a snapshot of the note, latest note that's been entered. Contact information, self-explanatory. History is kind of useful. You can select the type, attendance history. A lot of people want to see that. Barcode history, if they're changing their barcode number, not something you're going to mess with too much. You're really going to be looking at attendance history. And another thing here called status history. You'll note that Tom is set up and he's okay. Okay means that he doesn't owe you any money and his membership is in good standing. If he failed to pay, then he'd be delinquent and he would show as red when he scans in, but that's not the case. Sometimes you need to look at the history of that status to see when it changed to try to determine what happened and what maybe another employee did with that record in the past. Billing is where you'll spend a fair bit of time just updating billing records for members that haven't paid or entering new member information for billing data. And so what you have here when it comes up is the payment history. They'll have an invoice history, current due if they owe you any money, future due if there's a payment set out in the future, which we won't cover right now, and payment method. So that's the payment method that they're paying you on an ongoing basis. You can also look at the scheduling they have set up here, weights and measurements if your facility tracks that, and attributes would be appear here if your facility uses attributes to keep track of members, like if they have diabetes or something like that. So that's an overview of the record. To take an action within the record, you just click the buttons over here, and they're a hotkey that will take you to that section. So to edit the record would be here. To program a specific welcome screen greeting for a member, you can do that here at the POS systems here. If you forget what these colored buttons mean, if you hover over it long enough, it'll tell you what it is. That's a POS system. Here. Side note, when you're doing a POS transaction for a member who's already set up in the club, I don't recommend you use the POS button up here. You can do it from within here and then assign the payment method on file for the payment to capture payment. And it's just a lot easier that way. Enter notes here and change status here. They can go on hold. If you're going to put a member on hold, they come in and say, hey, I broke my leg. I don't want to be in for 3 months. You can put them on hold so they're not billed. Just set the period of time that they're on hold. All very, very straightforward. Once you get into it, you'll see how it all works. But let's get right to the basics of how to enter a member. So when you enter a member, you can click the sign up button here and you click new member. And what that's going to do, it's going to bring up the screen of the membership agreement options that you have. And what I'm going to do is we're going to back out of this for a minute and cancel here and show you how to convert a prospect to a member. So if you have a member that comes in that has not been a prospect in the past, you just enter them as a new member here. If it's somebody that was a prospect previously, you just go to the prospect record and convert them to a member, and want to show you how to do that. So prospect shows up, says, hey, this club's awesome, I'm going to join. Great, Garrett, thanks for stopping by. You just click this button here to convert them to a member. Now, 2 reasons why you want to do this. 1, you don't want to have the prospect record sitting there in your database when they're already a member. And 2, you want to be able to capture all this data that you entered previously so you don't have to retype it. So to convert, all you do is click this. You're going to be converting them to a membership. If you're going to add them like to a family plan for an already existing member, you would do that here, but here we're just going to convert. And it'll bring up the same screen we were on before if we clicked member sign up right here. So what you do is you select your type of membership. We're in an OsteoStrong test club right now, so we'll go with those memberships. And here we've got a core plan, which is just a month-to-month plan. All the data that's set up for that particular plan autofills right here. You can adjust this start date back as much as 10 days. So for example, if you don't get around to entering an agreement until a few days after they filled it out, you can always just backdate it so it starts on the day that they actually joined. Has the next payment date, the fees, the dues, and the employee who's set up for the salesperson. Note that this will default to the person who's logged in. If another person is to get credit, you can just come over here and select that person here to change it. Everything looks in order. We click next to move to gather the details. And here you're going to do things. You're going to set up the barcode number for the member and capture any additional information that you didn't capture when you signed them up as a prospect. Definitely want to, even though it's not required here, want to try to get their email address, because like new prospects, a new member will receive a welcome email and other automatically generated emails if they're turned on, like if their payment fails or if their credit card expiration date needs to be updated or something like that. So really critical to try to capture the email. Also want to try to capture the birthday, because the system will send a birthday greeting on their birthday. So that's all you do to grab that basic information there. Next, you want to select the payment method, and the payment method that you're going to be putting in here is going to be the account on file, the primary account on file that you're setting up that the system will bill. And so this is a test database, so I think we can set up just a dummy account here to show you how it works, but I'm not 100% sure. So let's see if this will work for us. And we'll click Save. And it failed because it's not turned, pay processing is not turned on here, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is when you set this up, people are going to either pay with an online bank account, and you're going to debit it on a regular basis, a credit card, which you'll set up here, or if they don't want you to charge either and just want to be emailed a statement each month, you select statement. Since we don't have it hooked up, we'll do that here. Our payment method successfully added. And then we're good to go. You'll notice down here, once you pick that payment method, it'll appear down here. Some of this other stuff down here, most clubs don't fool with that. If you have the ability to do group discounts, you would select the discount available here, like maybe for military or something if your owner has that set up. But most clubs don't have that. So are you ready to go? You click Save Member and Check Out. This will be a review screen where we check out to make sure everything looks right. Core plan, this is the sign-up dues they had, this is their monthly dues, taxes, everything looks in order. We can add other items here if you want. We don't, so we're going to check out. At the checkout screen, what we're going to do here is we're going to select the payment method that we're going to use on this transaction. Excuse me, I had to get that cough out of my system. So we just come here to click Add Payment Method. Now, if you had set up a credit card or a bank account on file, there would be a button up here called Account on File. You would simply select that and pick the account on file you just entered. But since we set this person up on a statement member, we're just going to call it cash, click Save and Process, and we're done. This takes sometimes 2 or 3 up to 5 seconds to load, but once it loads, it comes up with the payment receipt and you're done. Now there was a box on the previous screen you could have checked that would have emailed the member the receipt. If you forgot to do that, you could see it going by as it's loading, like, oh, I forgot. You can just click Email Receipt from here and it'll email them a receipt if you want. And that's that. You've just added this new member and it pops you into his member record when you're finished. Pretty easy. Okay, next thing I want to touch base on is member scan in. When a member scans in, they'll take their barcode, scan it under the scanner, and they'll pop up over on the welcome screen. I'll just drag it over here so you can see it. And we'll go ahead. If they forgot their scan tag, they can just say, okay, great, what's your name? Hi, my name is Mike. Hi, Mike. Sorry that you forgot your tag. You can do a manual scan in by hitting the manual scan in button. You'll see that his information appears here when he scans in, and if you have his picture, it'll appear here as well. That scan-in information will stay resident on the scan-in screen for anywhere. It depends on how it's set up. It varies depending on the settings, but usually 5 to 10 seconds. Okay, next thing we want to cover is what happens if somebody owes you money and they show up and they're like, oh, hey, my payment failed and I owe you money. This happens routinely. They'll either call it in or they'll show up to want to pay you. And so we'll say Jorge Clooney has called you up and said, hey, I need to make my account current. You go, great. You go to the member's record. You go to the billing tab. And this will show us what he owes you. So he owes $149.04. He goes, I have a new credit card I want to pay with. Okay, great. Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to get the payment. Pretty straightforward. Click Get Payment. He says, I want you to make a payment of $149.04. Super. You enter the data there. You click here to check off the invoices to which it's going to be applied, and you click Checkout. You're going to assign a payment method. If you have an account on file, you can pick that, or you can enter the credit card as we showed before. We're not hooked up to a pay processor, so we're just going to call it cash. Hit Save and Process. He's done. I forgot to send the email receipt button again, so once that finishes the process, I can click it again here and email him the receipt if you want. And then you click Finish, and you're done. And you'll notice Mr. Clooney's record has gone from being delinquent to okay. And that's how it is, how easy it is to take a new payment. Occasionally somebody will want to call in and will say, oh, hey, I need to update the expiration date on my credit card. You're like, okay, great. How do I do that? You just come over here to the payment methods that you have on file. There would be a line item for credit card in here, and you click edit. It'll pull up the details, and you can edit it to change the expiration date. The system will automatically generate an email the month prior to expiration, so that's why people might be calling to do that. If they want to put a new account on file for ongoing dues, you would add the payment method here. And notice there's a checkbox for primary. So if they say, okay, for all my future payments, please bill this credit card, you're going to add the payment method here and save it, and then make sure that it's checked off as primary here. And that's how you get payments when people owe you money. Okay, one thing I'd like to cover just briefly is how to schedule appointments. Now, different facilities will use the scheduling feature a lot more intensely than others, so I'm going to cover the very basics here, and then as you, in your specific training that you'll go through with a Go Figure trainer, they'll show you more about how to do it in more detail. But we'll cover the very basics here. So you'll have somebody who's come in and they're say, okay, great, I want to schedule an appointment. Now, appointments are broken down into different kinds. You can have an appointment, a consultation, that sort of a thing. And really the only difference is there a placeholder on the calendar, and they send an email to the member letting them know that the appointment's scheduled, and an email reminder the day before the appointment. Other than that, it's just the same sort of placeholder. And how you schedule an appointment or really anything else, all you do is you come here to the calendar, click View Calendar, and then you say, okay, great, when do you want your appointment? I want it Saturday the 8th. You can click Saturday the 8th. That'll pull up the calendar for that day, and they say, okay, I want to come in at 11 o'clock. Double click 11 o'clock. It says, do you want to schedule a PT session or a task? If your club sells PT sessions, you'll select that here. But we're just doing the appointment for this demonstration today. And you're like, okay, great. How do I know the customer? Geez, do I need to type in the whole customer name? No. All you do is you start typing in, and it will narrow down your list of members to the ones that have TO in their name. And I can go Tom, and it has Tom Bergeron. Great. The next thing you want to do is the task type. Most of the time you're going to be scheduling an appointment, and it'll default to 10 minutes for the window that you selected. A cool feature that you can do for some facilities that we support is they like to schedule regularly occurring appointments. So you can set this up to be auto-recurring at that date and time if you want, to say if somebody's coming in for a 10-minute session, whatever it might be, every week. You can set that up here. But we're going to do this as a one-time appointment. The result tab is how you mark it off when it's completed. And depending on how you run your facility, you can have this auto-complete so you don't have to go in here and check it off as it having been completed or not. I recommend using autocomplete. It just keeps a cleaner record, but that's up to you. And so we'll check it. Click Save. This will send a reminder to your member. If you're assigning it to a particular employee, it'll send a reminder to that employee too, and then you're done. Very, very simple, very straightforward to manage appointments. You can see how it works. Let's take a look on the 5th to see how multiple appointments during the same time frame work. This one you have one set up at 11:20, and you hover over it. The next one's at 11:30. You hover over it, and we're double booked at 11:30. You can double book in here if you want. Hopefully you'll catch that whenever you're scheduling something, and you won't do it so you're double booked, but it'll allow you to pile in as many appointments there as you need. And that's it for scheduling appointments. You'll notice that this is narrowed to Team OsteoStrong and OsteoStrong Manager. You can set settings at the owner level on where what employees appear here to be assigned tasks. And so for this particular OsteoStrong facility, they want to assign everything to primarily Team OsteoStrong, and that's why it's limited to that. Okay, so we've covered entering a prospect, entering a member scan-ins, taking a payment from a delinquent member, and how to schedule an appointment. That's it for today. We really wanted to do this as just a quick start guide. If you have any questions, please refer to the help button here, and if there's anything we can do, just give us a call or go to our online chat at igofigure.com and send us a question. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for your time, and thank you for your business. Bye-bye.